All right, guys, we'll let some folks join in here. Give me just a few minutes to get some stuff shared on some different platforms, and we'll get an update going. Share this with your friends if you will. Invite some folks in to watch, whatever you got to do, retweet it. And we'll discuss kind of what's going on with the potential for a widespread severe weather outbreak that's actually already ongoing. We'll kind of look here, give you current radar snapshot, and we'll get, just trying to get my platforms up here real quick so I can share some stuff. Evidently, I'm having a hard time. So to get things started here while I'm struggling with my technology over here, this severe thunderstorm watch that you see here in northern Illinois, eastern Iowa, is what we call a particularly dangerous situation. So this watch essentially means that, it's just a heightened threat, if you will. All right. But for some reason, I'm having a hard time. Let's see here. For some reason, I can't get the Facebook video to load. Guys, is the Facebook video working okay for people? Anybody, let me make sure it's working here. For some reason, I cannot share it. Okay, perfect. All right, good. So I'm not sure what's going on. So we'll get started. So yeah, this, I think I got it. All right, cool. So this current cluster of thunderstorms that you see here in Iowa is what's going to be headed this way, and I kind of want to take a second to talk about that. Sorry for those of you who it took a while for me to get running here, but you can see all of these reports here, all of these things that you see here in Iowa. Let's go to one single screen. All of these reports are severe weather reports. They're basically wind damage reports. And we're getting a lot of these that are accessing 90 miles per hour. And whenever you have a straight line wind in excess of 90 miles per hour, that's pretty impressive, right? That's windy. All right. So this is the reason why I'm talking about what's going on in Iowa. Here's a wind gust out of Marshalltown that was 99 miles per hour at the Marshalltown Airport. The reason I'm talking about this is that, wow, look at this. A personal weather station measured a 100 mile per hour wind gust just west of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So again, the reason I'm talking about this is because as we progress through the afternoon and the evening, I'm actually kind of seeing a little bit of a southwest tendency here already. You'll note that this main, what we call this Boeing echo, this cluster of thunderstorms, it's moving generally west to east right now. But there may be some tendency for it to do this, for it to start to dive to the south and east, just based on a different set of parameters and looking at everything that we see. I think that in terms of where it's going to start rapidly weakening is once it gets to somewhere around in here. It's going to be difficult to determine because the energy levels that we're working with in the atmosphere are explosive levels of energy. We have tons of energy. And so I think that we really need to consider this probably holding together a little bit longer than anticipated by a lot of folks originally, and that it's also that it's also possibly it's even stronger with that assumption as well, with that forecast. Now, this is the current energy levels from just an analysis standpoint. And what you can see here is these very dark reds. Essentially, the darker the red, the more the energy is in the atmosphere, the more energy that's present. And so I think it's safe to assume that possibly this is going to go right along this energy gradient and then dive south and east as the gradient kind of dives south and east as well. Look at some of these pictures that have already, where the damage has already happened here across Des Moines. These are power poles, and these things here are snapped in half. Remarkable to see this kind of power with these winds come through to snap these power poles in half. This is really probably will end up being a historic image. Semi-truck blown over here in central Iowa. And so I say all that to say that this cluster of storms, we really need to kind of figure out exactly where it's going to go. It's loaded with lightning. I'm going to put this into motion. This is off of our weather portal software. You can see there's a mesolow being detected here just north of Cedar Rapids. This means there's some spin in the atmosphere. Okay, so the spin in the atmosphere, in the Cape and the energy, everything is exacerbating this threat. Everything's making it a little bit more intense. So this is really just a powerhouse of a storm cluster, but so far it's not incredibly widespread. As it moves further east, it may have the tendency to want to expand a little bit and want to grow and go further to the east. Now, this was just issued here by the Storm Prediction Center. And what this says here is widespread damaging winds of 70 to 100 miles per hour are expected to continue eastward into central eastern Iowa over the next hour or so. These winds will likely impact Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and eventually into the Quad City area. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to decode this for you. I'm going to show you what that means. I'm going to turn on our meso discussions here. We'll zoom this in a little bit. So what I'm saying is, as this continues, all right, we're anticipating the arrival, 18Z arrival, which is about an hour from now, to be here, and then 19Z, it's going to be here. So it's booking each location at an hour as it goes further to the east. So my concern is again, what we have to watch is the dive that it wants to take, okay, that it may take. And you can already kind of see it in the motion of it. You can already kind of see a little bit of a suggestion possibly of some southeast dive or southeast tendencies in that. So if that were to occur, this is what we would look like. Let me go back here. This is what the thunderstorm arrival times would look like based on our analysis here just a little bit ago. All right, 2:30 there from Davenport, just west of Peoria near Quincy. And then, getting into the Chicago Champaign area. Now, these are Eastern time, so this will be more of a 1:30 Central time and a 3:30 Central time for Chicago. Okay, but boy, I'll tell you what. Again, very impressive. Very impressive, overall line of storms moving through the area from East Iowa into northern Illinois. So if this can make it here, if it can make it to north central Indiana, which I believe that it will, I'm concerned that there could be widespread damaging wind gusts of 75 miles per hour or greater. And I would definitely look for that severe thunderstorm watch to get issued. The things that we have to continue to remember here is what it's doing right now. And right now it's really performing, it's about as strong as it gets. Quite frankly, I'm quite frankly surprised there's not a corridor of a high risk from the Storm Prediction Center inside of this. Based on what I'm seeing and just the environment we're headed into. When I say that, we look at our cloud cover, our forecast cloud cover, it's sunny out ahead of this. East Iowa, north central Illinois, northern Indiana, which means that this energy can continue to build. And so as that happens, this cluster of storms is probably only going to continue to strengthen. So it's certainly a fascinating satellite image. you look at these little ripples, if you can see them, these little gravity waves, and I think a lot of it is just from the sheer momentum from this storm, just the energy from it. There's not a lot known about all these little waves, these gravity impulses that you see in the satellite image, but it's just a brute force. This thing is serious business. So again, when we look at the forecast time of arrival, I really think for folks in central and northwest central or northwestern Indiana, we need to be on the lookout from 4:30 p.m. west to 6:30 p.m. east. And again, I think this thing can pack a serious punch. I don't have, in my opinion, when we're looking at this, I want to show you what I'm seeing here. I want to show you the risk from the SPC. This is again on our weather portal software. In my opinion, I don't really see how or why this would weaken too much at 6:30. We're still going to have, just coming off really prime heating. And it might be, this risk might be a little too far north. And so we're going to, again, we're going to watch this, but I wouldn't be shocked to see, the wind capability here to be a little bit further to the south and a little bit further to the east. That wouldn't totally shock me, okay? So I think that we need to keep in mind the possibility again of this diving well to the south and east here, 4:30 to 6:30 across central Indiana. So, guys, take it very seriously tonight. The weather. You see the warnings come in tonight. You're out ahead of this thing. The lightning is unbelievable. The fires, could be out of control. The lightning fires just could be absolutely wild. You see the zoomed in view here, and folks here just west of Cedar Rapids, you are about to absolutely get hammered. If you are in Cedar Rapids, you have got to be getting into shelter because this thing is wild. Let me pull back up my radar view. I can kind of show you exactly what I'm talking about here with Cedar Rapids. It's getting outside of the. Let me get into a new radar here real quick. Give me 1 second. Pull up the Davenport radar. Yeah, so I mean, look at the wind here, advertised on radar. It's over 100 miles per hour all along this. It's high up in the beam for this scan, but all along this here, this corridor as it slides to the east towards Davenport, very dangerous situation for these folks. So this is a taste of what may happen coming in tonight into central Indiana. The model data is handling this very poorly. It's not doing well. And so it makes it difficult to really determine exactly, what's going to happen and when, because the model data is well north of the current situation. So what I want you to note real quick is something that we're watching at least, is that the model data, when you look at it, I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn this off. When you look at the model data, what's interesting is, it's initializing everything too far to the north and to the east, and so it makes you question the evolution of things, and it's a little slow. Now, actually, this latest run that may have populated may be doing well, but it's also a little slow, and it's not seeing the extent, of how big this line can be. This latest run is horrible. And this is a run that updates every hour. So it makes it very difficult to determine where this is going to be and when. So a lot of it leans on a nowcast situation. Yeah, this latest model run is pretty bad. Okay. So judging by, again, everything that we see, in fact, I want to take you through, just real quick, if you're curious, I'll take you through kind of some things that we look at here to help us get a better understanding of what's going to happen. First off is obviously the energy. And there's explosive levels of energy, but note here how you have over northern Illinois where you have the core of the highest CAPE values over northern or central Illinois. It's normally what happens these clusters like to ride the gradient of that cape, which again would suggest that southeastern dive, or more of that southeastern track here, versus what's seen here with the Storm Prediction Center. So we'll have to watch this very closely. We're at a pivotal point here with where this cluster is going to go and what it's going to do. But the parameters out ahead of this, again, certainly do not suggest any weakening in the thunderstorm cluster like the computer model data is trying to hint at. We're not seeing that being an issue. Okay. All right. So let's see here. See if I can pull up some of your comments, guys. I'll try to answer some of your questions. Yeah, and again, this is a PDS watch, which means particularly dangerous situations. So, something to definitely keep in mind here as we get throughout tonight. All right, that's all I'm gonna talk about for now. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of moving parts to this system. It makes forecasting these very difficult. If you're in the path of these, you know you're going to get hit pretty hard. You know you're going to get a pretty stout thunderstorm cluster to roll through. So if you are in the path of this, take it seriously. As it evolves and gets closer over portions of I-80 into Davenport, Peoria, Champaign, Chicago, as it evolves, we'll get more information. But what we really need to watch is any tendencies to dive, because that's what these things do, is they dive. Now, Chicago metro area may get absolutely hammered closer to about 3:30 today. Okay, so Central Time. But let me watch this over the next couple of hours. I'll come back with more. And as this gets closer into more of our viewing area for people that are actually viewing our page and our channels, we'll come back on with more. So there's your time frame. Anybody that's going to get it, you're going to be at risk for 75 mile per hour winds or greater. We're seeing 100 mile per hour wind gusts in East Iowa right now. So we will keep you posted. Thanks for watching, and we'll